I don't know what that is. All right, this is Sports for Real. A little bit different setting. Times are getting ready to change for me, so I'm going to start switching up a little bit. So I had to come on a few minutes to get my points across. As you guys know by now, the NBA Finals have been set. New York beat down their leg and pretty much let a team that they should be advancing over advance past them into the finals, and that is the Pacers. Anytime that you have a team on the mat, you have to extinguish them. And if you have a team that you're supposed to beat, you're supposed to let them know early that you can't beat us. And in this case, the Knicks, they had that 15, 20-point lead with like 2 minutes left in game one. They blew it. And that set the foundation for the whole series. And pretty much they played uphill the entire series. They won game 5 to force game 6, and then they had the opportunity to win game 6, and they weren't able to do that. And in the end, it cost them. So now the Pacers are going to be headed to the finals to take on that monster called OKC. They've been the best team all year, not just in the West, but the entire NBA. And before I tell you exactly what I mean by that, let's go back to the year that the Falcons lost the Super Bowl to New England. I'm a Steelers guy. Pittsburgh lost to New England, which some consider an upset, but I was actually glad that Pittsburgh lost that game because I knew that Pittsburgh could not match up to that Falcon offense. I'd rather them lose in the conference championship game than to get on that national or worldwide Super Bowl stage and get embarrassed. And if it wasn't for the character flaw of the Falcons, who to manage to get big leads and start coasting and allow teams to get back in the game, they would have ran away and hid from New England. And I was right in thinking that Pittsburgh couldn't match up with that offense. New England couldn't do it. They were just fortunate enough to get the breaks that allowed them to win that game. So when I think of that, I put that in context with OKC. The Knicks might have been better off losing to Indiana, because now Indiana is going to be on that worldwide stage and everybody's going to see, are they really a championship caliber team? I told you guys when the playoffs started, when you are an underdog, you're either going to do one or two things. You're going to keep, when you start upsetting people, you're either going to keep upsetting people, or midnight is going to strike in front of everybody's eyes. And in this particular case, if you think about what happened to TCU, they were worthy of championship caliber team, but the problem with TCU is that they made it to the championship. They were good enough to be there. They earned their way there, but then they just seemed like they just stopped and looked around and said, oh, shit, we're in the championship. Everybody's going to be watching what we're going to do now. And they just completely fell apart. And I wonder if the same thing is going to happen to the Pacers. Either the Pacers are going to keep on the upset string, or midnight is about to strike. All right, let's see what we got here. See, JC, how you doing, man? Cooper Rice said hi. Gotcha is the best. I know it's Dave said hi. How old am I? I'm 100. The Pacers can hang, but OKC taking the series. Yeah, I'm certain that OKC is going to take this series, but the question is how many games? If they come out and they blow them out that first game, then it's going to be a short series. Now, the one thing that the Pacers do have is that OKC is going to be sitting around a whole week before the final start. Now, the Pacers themselves are going to get 4 days off, but they're going to be more in a game rhythm than what OKC is. Now, you know, it usually takes these teams a minute to get it together before they start to settle back into where they were, get those legs back under them. Now, if I'm OKC, I'm doing live ball scrimmages, and we're going to be hitting on all cylinders by the time that game tips off. We don't have time to wait. That one dead quarter could be what cost you in the whole series. Knicks are a perfect example of that. All right. All right, said hello. Brian Clifton, how you doing, man? JC says, I don't think OKC will sweep, but OKC will win the championship. Well, nobody wants to see a sweep, especially the league office. They like to see those TV ratings keep going up. And if you got a sweep, that's at least 3 games, well, the max of 3 games that they won't have on TV. So the more they're in front of a TV audience, the better off for them. So the league, of course, does not want to see a sweep. But like I said, it depends on how that first game goes. And in the third game, OKC, they tend to lay down once or twice during the series. They did it against Minnesota, and all the Minnesota people got excited, thinking that this was going to be a series. But the thing about that is, I wonder if the league offers actually make calls to these people and tell them to don't show up tonight. And some of the performances you get from the NBA teams lends credibility to that. And I think if OKC comes out and blows them out the first 2 games, league offers might give them another call and say, look here, let them win game 3, make people think that this is a series. Just extend it out a little bit. You make us look good, and everybody wins in the end is what they're basically trying to say. Ryan Clifton says, we'll see the Pacers can play some good defense. I'm happy to see 2 different teams in the final. Yeah, it is. A lot of people are complaining because you got 2 small market teams playing. I care less about where the teams came from. If they're worthy enough to make it to the finals, then that's who I want to see. I don't want to see the Lakers or Miami or New York just because they got those big city tags next to them. That means nothing to me. I want to see the best teams, whether it's in NBA, NFL, paint drying, rock throwing, whatever. Who are the best teams? That's who I want to watch. All right. So the question is, will the Pacers get swept? Right now, most of you are saying yes. They're going to have to show up. And as much as people are saying about their offense, I got a lot of questions about Indiana's offense. Ever since I started playing those parlays, it made me start to look a little deeper at, what these guys are doing. And when you start to look at the way that these series unfold, a lot of these guys are grossly inconsistent. And Indiana's offense is grossly inconsistent. They get one guy to step up every night. But lately, Nimrod, I call him Nimrod lately because he can't seem to score the basket. Nimrod, and then you got Neesmith. He's kind of like Bumblebee Boo, and then they get hot and shoot 1 or 2 3-pointers in a row, and they go back to Bumblebee Boo again. So I can't depend on him. I can't depend on Nimrod. Siakam is hit or miss. Miles Turner is hit or miss. This is not the kind of offense that's going to be able to beat OKC. The only chance that Indiana has, in my opinion, these guys are going to have to be on the whole series. That's the only shot they got. If they're not on the whole series, then it's going to get ugly. Now, who's to say OKC won't get on the big stage and fall apart? That could happen too. They're not guaranteed to play their best ball. So this is a new experience for a lot of these players. So we'll see how it goes. But right now, the early returns, to me, suggest that Indiana's got a problem. They got a matchup problem. All right. No, the Pacers won't get swept. I don't think they will. Bumblebee Blue. Yeah, man. In other words, he make a lot of silly mistakes. He, ball fall through his hand and you fall on the floor and come on, man, give me a damn break, man. But I'm looking at the matchups. They're talking about how Nimhard played tough defense against Brunson. He did. He went over screens. He got himself in a disruptive figure. But I think Brunson didn't come out to try to score 30-plus points. I think he tried to get everybody else involved. But that's not to take away from Nimhard. He did play good defense. But Brunson is like 6'2", 6'1". That is a big difference from Gilgeous, who is 6'7". So if you get to do all that grabbing and holding like he was doing against Brunson, they're gonna call fouls on him. And then if Gilgeous is able to get into his spots, he's gonna shoot over him with ease. So I think an early indicator to determine how this series is gonna go is, will he allow Gilgeous to get to those spots? And is he hitting those mid-range jumpers? And if he's hitting those mid-range jumpers, you're going to come out to try to defend it. You're going to pump fake it. You're going to take it to the hole. It's going to get to the line. And then that's going to open up everything else. And much as Indiana likes to run, I don't know if it'd be a good thing for OKC to try to run fully with them. But I think if they get OKC running, with the inconsistency of Indiana, I don't know if that's a good thing. So kind of like Minnesota, they're going to have to keep it at a certain pace, and they're going to have to try to get them in foul trouble down low. And I think that would be a good option for Indiana. But just straight up running, I don't see the game turning into nothing like that. But it actually favors OKC. They only lost one game against the Eastern Conference this year. I forget who that was that beat them, but no, regular season doesn't mean a whole lot. It's all about matchups at this point. And I think that I don't see how Indiana matches up in this series. They're going to have to come out, and those role players are going to have to be on, and they're going to have to stay on, and the starters are going to have to be on, and they're going to have to keep Gilgeous off their spots and keep him from getting to the basket. So it starts right there. You know they're going to try to do that. And, OKC has already got something in the bag for that. So it's just a matter of how it unfolds in that first quarter. Chris Yusuf, yeah, he coming out of retirement, all right. What are you going to do? He can put a uniform on and smile. That's about the only effective he's going to get. Maybe the fans will get a roar out of that. But you put him on the floor, I know something. And OKC knows something too. You got a problem. Down under, peanut butter, hide your mother, thunder, and 5. Okay, I'm gonna go with you on that down under. Let's give them one game. It's like an award for making it to the finals. You know, these new kids nowadays, they play these youth leagues, and the parents don't like to see their kids cry. So even if they're the worst team they ever invented on T-ball, they want to give them a trophy. And because they all get a trophy, we're going to appease their feelings. And we're going to use that as the appeasing the Pacers' feelings by giving them a victory in the finals. Pat them on the back, say, hey, you did a great job of making it. So take this victory and go on back over there and try to come back next year. But I don't know. They beat the Knicks. They got cool kicks, Pacers in 6. Okay, I see what you're doing, Christian Yusuf. I can bust a few rhymes too, but I don't have time right now. I got to get up out of here and go to work a little later today. So I figure I try to come on at a consistent time. I don't know how much that's going to be able to. I'm going to be able to continue that moving forward, but I got something up my sleeve. When we start talking about Indiana, I'm going to be running in and out of Indiana over the next couple of months. Got some things lined up there, but I get into more of that later. But meanwhile, the school year is wrapping up. Got to go and close out over these next couple of days. Need a break from the kids, man. Refresh and come back at it in August with the new sports season. And basketball, these finals are just a transition. But like I tell you guys before, basketball is something else to do until football comes back around. The good thing about the NBA finals, it takes you into mid-June. And then after that, you got the Tour de France coming up in July, a couple weeks later. And then after that, the training camps open up, and then it's football season again. So that's why we watch the NBA finals, because it helps us bridge that transition back to football. All right, if Tatum doesn't go down, how long would the Pacers have lasted? I don't know. I think Boston was still the best team in the East. But that's one thing about it. You know, you have to factor in if somebody gets hurt or not. And unfortunately, injuries played a big part of the finals of the playoffs this year. I like to think that Golden State would have beat Minnesota had Curry not gone down. And they wouldn't have beat Golden State the way they beat Minnesota. and I'm sure of that. Golden State's going to retool. Curry doesn't have much longer to play, and they're going to try to send him out on top. Question is, where's Giannis going to go? Talk that he's going to leave Milwaukee. Here in the day, they think the Knicks might be able to get him. I don't think so. He might end up down in San Antonio with Wemby. That would be a good defensive setup. Wherever he goes is going to make a difference. One player can make all the difference if you're a top-notch player. I don't care what sport it is. And he is definitely one of them. But that's going to be something to watch during the offseason of the NBA. But I just want to say that get your early thoughts on what you guys were thinking about these NBA finals. But I got to cut it short. But I'll be back on in the morning unless there's some breaking news. I'll be back on today. But in the meantime, Christian Youssef, I never noticed you before. Appreciate if you guys like and subscribe. I see OJC on there and a couple of other guys I seen, Ryan Clifton. Appreciate you guys chiming in with me, man. But like I said, unless there's some breaking news, I'll catch you guys in the morning. So until then, wherever you are in the world, have a great day. This has been Sports for Real, but I got to go to work. So I'm out. Gotta get out of here. Get ready for another year.